Oh, hello. Good evening. Welcome. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live from a news about Desawe Kanda, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on DSTV channel 279. We're all across the world on 3news.com. We're also on 3FM 92.7. I am Alfred Ocansey. Tonight, we're live in the troubled Bawku area where military forces arrived earlier today to enforce peace following renewed conflict. Meanwhile, concerns grow as some public sector workers call for evacuation amid the rising tensions in the area. Stay with us. We're live in Bawku tonight. Also, the new Patriotic Party's 2028 flagbearer race kicks off today with nominations opening for aspirants. But the high cost of entry sparks early concerns. We'll discuss the matters arising on your election command center. Stay with us. Also, a political clash over Ghana's improved economic ratings. The minority NPP says the gains stem from their past policies and the foundation they laid, not the current government's efforts. So, who truly deserves the credit? And is that relevant in the bigger picture and the larger scheme of things? We have a conversation tonight. As always, you're an integral part of it. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
President John Mahama has condemned the recent killings in Bawku and Nalirigu that claimed the lives of 3 students believed to be linked to the chieftaincy conflict. In a strongly worded condemnation, the president says the killings could have been done by persons whose efforts are aimed at derailing the peace mediation by the Asante Hine that has almost seen its conclusion. He has given backing to the armed forces to strictly enforce peace in the enclave. He made this known when the overlord of the Gonja traditional area, Yadbanwura Bikunutu Swale I, paid a courtesy call on him.
I take this occasion to appeal to our brothers and sisters, Kusasis and Mamprusis, to give peace a chance. We cannot accept this current situation where students are shot in school and killed. We can't accept the current situation where teachers, public officers have all run away from Bawku because they are afraid for their lives.
The new Patriotic Party has officially opened nominations for members seeking to contest the party's presidential tickets. At a press conference earlier today, General Secretary Justin Kodri announced that candidates are required to pay a non-refundable nomination fee of 100,000 Ghana cedis along with a filing fee of 500,000 Ghana cedis.
We have officially opened nominations for our party members who aspire to become presidential candidate of our party for the 2028 elections. The presidential primaries shall be held on Saturday, January 31, 2026. Nomination is open today, July 29, 2025, and shall close on Thursday, August 28, 2025.
With 2/3 majority in Parliament, one would have thought the National Democratic Congress would not be interested in the Akwatia by-election to elect an MP. But the party has promised to go all out for the seats. With about a month to go before the election, both the NDC and MPP are preparing for what is expected to be a closely contested race. First Deputy Majority Whip Comfort Doye said the seat is a done deal for the NDC.
Hey, so if it's raining, would the sea say, I have water already, so the rain should not come in? Oh, it's raining in the sea, but there is a lot of sea water there. There should be an MP that can lobby and lobby properly for the good people of Akwatia. You see, because we have a lot of things John Mahama is going to do for the good people of Ghana. And if you are a member of parliament for NDC, it's easy lobbying than you are in the opposition.
Parliament has approved all the deputy ministerial nominees appointed by the President by consensus. This follows the submission of the Appointments Committee's report to Parliament. After evaluating the nominees, the committee reported that each of them demonstrated competence, insight, and readiness to assume their respective roles. The 4 deputy minister nominees approved are Dorcas Afo-Tofe, Deputy Minister for Transports, James Jachikwesin, Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs, Mohammed Adam Satnuru, Deputy Minister for Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations, and Professor Grace Anyensu-Dankwa, Deputy Minister for Health. Member of Parliament for Minsha South, Nana Ejebafo-Ewa, has called on government to prioritize parity in earnings for the Black Queens in line with the Affirmative Action Act. Ewa emphasized that the current disparity in earnings between the Black Queens and the Black Stars is unfair and contradicts the spirit and the letter of the Act. He made this declaration during the Black Queens' visit to Parliament after winning bronze medal in the just-ended Women's African Cup of Nations, WAFCON.
Oh, there's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7. As always, probably brought to you by Flamingo Paint, Simply Superior, Sasun Setsa Spray and Call, Tum Preko. Coming up next, we go straight to the troubled area, Bawku. Tonight, we're live in Bawku right now, where the military arrived earlier today to enforce peace following renewed conflict in the area over the last few days. Meanwhile, concerns grow as some public sector workers call for evacuation amidst the rising tensions in the area. That's what we're focusing on tonight for good reason. And we're going straight to the Bawku area in the Upper East region. The Ghana Armed Forces has commenced peace enforcement operations in Bawku in the Upper East region as part of efforts to stabilize the area and contain the renewed tensions. The operations led by the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Lawrence Kweku Betanu, began with intensified patrols across the town to enforce compliance of the revised curfew and to prevent further escalation. Now, of the violence in the area, we're showing you videos earlier today. The troops moved throughout Bawku earlier today, maintaining a visible presence in the area. Now, these are exclusive videos that we have because our man, Castro Senyala, is embedded in the military deployment in there. He's moving with them every step of the way and giving us exclusive detail of what the military is doing on the ground. You see the streets of Bawku. There are no persons or movement of persons on the street because this was during the curfew period. The curfew period had kicked in, and so you don't see any movement of persons. You see just the movement of vehicles, the military vehicles as well, the security agencies patrolling the streets of Bawku, and all the residents were living in there. Those who have not had to flee the area are in their rooms observing the curfew. We're going to hear from Major General Lawrence Kweku Betanu earlier when he addressed the troop, giving them direct instructions and the details of what they're going to be doing with the redirection of the focus. They're not going to do peacekeeping. Now we're told they're going to do peace enforcement. What does all of this mean? Here's Major General Lawrence Kweku Betanu. Is going to hear from him shortly. But my colleague, Castro Senyana, who is Upper East Regional Correspondent, he is moving with the military deployment, the military personnel in the area right now, and we're connecting with him live. Castro, I do appreciate you connecting with us here on Ghana Tonight. I see the vehicles behind you. It's clear that you're ready to move on some surveillance tonight, is it not?
Right, Alfred. So we've just come here to the camp, and so in a moment we'll be moving from here I wouldn't want to mention the name of the camp for security reasons, but we're in the camp, and behind me, as you rightly said, you can see that there are a lot of trucks behind me that belonging to the military, which were used for today's, exercise, the operation, having to move through the principal streets of Bawku, and in fact, comb every corner to show some, force and presence and visibility.
I see. Now, earlier today, you moved with the military throughout the Bawku area, moving through the streets of Bawku. We just showed those videos. Now, tell us what has been happening since morning when the military arrived for the peace enforcement that they have just declared.
Yes, so Alfred, right from yesterday, the military began to, bring troops into the Upper East region. And earlier this morning, more troops came. And in fact, the chief of the army staff, Major General Betano, later came in a chopper where he met with troops and interacted with them and got some briefings on the ground, as to what is happening on the ground. Later on, he moved straight to Bawku. First, he touched base with the Joint Army, Task Force, where he spoke extensively and got the understanding of what the operations have been so far since his last visit last month. And then also he went straight to Bawku. When we got to Bawku, the military did a lot of patrols. I can report that for 2 solid hours or more than 2 hours, the military vehicles moved through principal street of Bawku, combed every corner of the Bawku municipality. Talk of anywhere at all. Once it's part of Bawku, the military, went there and showed some force and power and showed visibility to draw attention to the indigents that the military has really arrived. And I'm talking about more than 400 soldiers, as we speak now, have been added to the already existing soldiers that are there maintaining peace and order in the town. And so later on, he came back to the Bazua camp where he, has been very, very vocal to the troops on the ground to maintain composure and to continue to support the military in the peacekeeping efforts. He has said that the military on their part would continue to do what they can to ensure that personnel and troops who have dedicated themselves and time and have left their families and are here to help the government and the military to ensure peace are well taken care of in terms of logistical provisions and their comfortability.
I see. Now you talk about the curfew as well. Just refresh our minds. What time exactly is the curfew? Did the curfew kick in today? And then also yes, the videos we saw of the level of observance of the curfew by the residents in there when you patrolled the streets of Bawku earlier today.
Right, Alfred. So there's been a review of the curfew, and now it's from 2 p.m. So that means at exactly 2 p.m., residents are supposed to comply with the directive. So 2 p.m. they are indoors, and that would take them all the way till the next day. 6 o'clock in the morning when they can come out and enjoy some fresh air. And I can report that there's been total compliance of the curfew hours in Bawku. As of today that we went there, I went there with the military, and we took, like I stated earlier on, the military took time to go through principal streets of the town, and we didn't even see any single person on the street, not at all. All we saw were empty places, usually where the people of Bawku would sit, and the youth especially would sit and have a good time and chat. Almost all those places were empty because they were strictly observing the curfew. Alfred, the town is divided, sharply divided on both sides of the division, where the youth or the people would usually sit and have good time and chat and have conversations. All those places were empty. And I can confirm that, yes, there's been a strict adherence to the protocol. The measures, including the curfew imposition in Bawku municipality.
I see. And how is the town now? I'm talking about the reaction of the residents in the area to that's the military deployment to the area. We've seen now additional military personnel. You've talked about over 400 of them on ground in Bawku right now. What have the residents been telling you?
Yes, Alfred, I was really looking forward to speaking to some of the residents because, we all know that they have been, there've been protests that the curfew is a bit harsh, though they haven't been open protests. Let me put that on record. But then silently, and for me as a correspondent and a journalist, people have personally reached out to me to say that, look, yes, they understand that government is working so hard to see how best they can bring the situation under control. But then the curfew is a bit harsh, considering the fact that a lot of the people in the Bawku municipality and in its environs are farmers who depend hugely on farming. And so if the curfew hours is extended to 2, it means a lot of the farmers would not be able to engage in their farming activities. That notwithstanding, I wasn't able to interview anyone like I stated earlier on. All the residents were indoors as at the time we arrived. The streets were empty. There was total compliance, and so there were no people at all to speak to. Ordinarily, if there was challenges, the military would have stopped or made stops on the routes where they would see people. But when we were going through, you could see that the military was just driving through non-stop, and no one even stepped out except for the soldiers who were on the ground, strategically positioned to take care of the situation. Aside from that, the patrol teams that were moving on continuously ran through the township without stopping. That's, an indication of the fact that there's been total compliance and the people are abiding by the curfew hours and the imposition.
Some exclusive and very important detail there, comprehensive indeed. Appreciate you connecting with us, Castro Senyala. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. He is a correspondent in the Upper East region. He's moving every step of the way with the military deployment in the area. The troops were moving through the streets of Bawku to ensure that there is some level of peace, law and order in the area. Over 400 personnel from the Ghana Armed Forces, from what we're hearing now, with the reinforcement in the Bawku area to enforce peace. There's no more peacekeeping. That's a redirection of the focus. We're going to understand what this really means. No more peacekeeping, but peace enforcement. What does it mean in the security language or policy direction? We'll talk about it shortly. But there's something that's happening in Bawku as well we'll keep an eye on. But let's hear from Major General Lawrence Kweku Betanu, who is the Chief of Army Staff, and he addressed the troops earlier today, giving them details of what they are going to be doing the next days ahead of us with respect to direction. Take a look.
And like I told some people, as we used to say in others, to return to, when I said to return to our families, some young ones corrected me that I should say return to our loved ones.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We finish and then we return to our loved ones. But once again, well done for a good job done today. Professionally executed. Let's continue in that manner. And at the end, we shall prevail and, as I indicated, restore law and order over here and bring sanity to the place. So I wish all of us very well. We are in this together. Is that very clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But before you disperse from here today, the entire Ghana Army is giving us 10,000 Ghana cedis to use for ourselves, apart from all the administrative.
Well, you'll find more of this on 3news.com. There's exclusive detail. You'll find more of it on 3news.com and also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. So make some time and go there. But there are a number of public health workers and groups that are already appealing to government to consider evacuating their staff from Bawku. And one concerning is the development we're hearing with the Ghana Registered Nurse and Midwives Association. The statement attributed to Perpetual Forian Pofu, who is the president of the Ghana Registered Nurse and Midwives Association, says that there are some members, health workers, whose lives are in danger. They're calling on their employer, the government, the Ministry of Health to consider moving our members, particularly those who do not reside in Bawku, but are there due to the duty. So those who have just been sent there for purposes of discharging their duties as either nurses or midwives or caregivers, said they want them out of the area for their own safety. These are critical, essential workers who are needed in Bawku right now. But then again, the association is also concerned about their lives and their safety, their well-being, so they're making this appeal. It's not just the healthcare givers, we're talking about teachers as well. The National Communications Director of the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana has also indicated they appreciate the government's directive to evacuate learners. However, the situation remains dire. Government must act now to evacuate our teachers as well. Now, we urge our members in these areas to remain calm as we work closely with the security agencies to ensure a safe evacuation. This is Kingsley Anyimedu, who is the National Communications Director of the Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana. So teachers and nurses. Thankfully, we have the Honorable Sebastian Sandari. He is a Member of Parliament for the Dafiama Busiesa constituency. He is the Vice Chair of Parliament's Health Committee. He's joining us in the studio. Honorable, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good evening. It's a pleasure having me.
Now, this is concerning, to say the least, is it not? If you have nurses, midwives, and caregivers, teachers, all appealing to government to consider evacuating their members because their lives are in danger, and even though, yes, the services they are delivering is essential, they are all looking at their lives and welfare as well, Honorable.
Yeah, very much so. And we are all concerned, even as members of Parliament, observing what is happening in Bawku. It's of concern to us. And I come from Upper West. I'm a Dagao. So what it means is that whatever that is happening in Bawku, I'm also affected because the people of Bawku, our brothers, sisters, uncles, grandpas, and especially the children, we are all concerned. And normally, when you have a conflict all over the world, when you have conflict, children and mothers and women and the elderly, they suffer the most. They are the most vulnerable. Therefore, as a brother from Upper West, I can only appeal to my people and appeal to all stakeholders that whatever it will take to bring peace to the good people of Bawku, that is what we are all praying for. We want peace so that children, mothers can survive. I mean, healthcare workers are worried, teachers are worried, and normally, when you post people, especially people who are not from that part of the country, they are afraid to go. Meaning the health system will be disrupted, doctors will not be there, nurses will not be there, other healthcare workers will not be there, teachers will be leaving. And it is the children and women that would suffer. So I humbly appeal because, like I said, I associate myself because I come from the north and in the Gao, and whatever that is happening there, we are all worried. So we can appeal and hope that government interventions and all peace-loving stakeholders, the chiefs, everybody who is concerned, we should all come together, pray and work hard that there will be peace, lasting peace in Bawku, so that health workers can accept posting to that place, teachers can accept posting to that place, and it will be a peaceful place for all of us to go to.
So now, what's the thinking right now in the Health Committee of Parliament, which you are vice chair of the situation, and what do you intend to do in the coming days? Maybe very quickly.
Right, like I've said, I mean, as members of the Health Committee, once the health system there is being disrupted and there's fear and panic for health workers, it's of concern to us. And therefore, we joined, stakeholders, to pray and to ask for peace, because when there's peace, we know the healthcare system there will be strong, will be robust, healthcare workers will be willing to go. So it's a concern to all of us, especially those of us who are from the northern part of this country.
I do appreciate you coming. Thank you. Sebastian Sandari is Member of Parliament for the Dafiama Busiesa constituency, and then also the Vice Chair of Parliament's Health Committee, joining us in here. And Richard Kumado is Security Analyst. Kumado, good evening. Thank you for joining us. First off, let's understand the shift in focus in the security interventions in Bawku from peacekeeping to peace enforcement. What does this mean?
Okay, so these are military language, or these are security management language, but the whole operation is we see it's a security management approach. And these approaches are options available to security management officers, particularly those at the helm of affairs. How do they come to some of these conclusions, and which approach to use is dependent on what we call security risk assessment. If you remember, Bawku has been in the news for some time now. It means that taking this decision, they have done the security risk assessment in recent weeks or days or months and have come to a conclusion that the risks we are facing to peace has moved from a very low risk to medium high. And the threat to national security and national stability has moved higher. In that regard, you deploy the military operation or you deploy a security management operation that helps you to curtail whatever is fueling the threat and to neutralize what the risk elements are. And that is why he used the military language to say they want to sanitize the place and they are there for enforcing the peace and not to maintain the peace.
I see. Then how would that also impact on the evolving nature of the conflict in Bawku, and take into consideration the fact that there's already a mediation talk in place and ongoing, and then also the curfew that we've seen imposed as well?
So there are two different things. The mediation arena by our grandfather, our father Asantehene, deals with a different aspect of the conflict, and their methodology is different. What we are seeing now is to neutralize a threat that is becoming very hot and making Bawku a very hostile environment. So you will need an aggressive nature of a military force to be able to curtail it and to be able to deal with it. The conflict-related personalities within the Bawku area are going to experience some level of discomfort, and care is not taken. People who find themselves at the wrong places at the wrong times, it can become very vulnerable to the outcomes of military operations when you have soldiers in the front line maintaining law and order in a society where law has broken and there's no order, and what you see is disorderliness. So that is what we are facing. Now, when it comes to the curfew, we can agree that it's a little bit harsh, but it's also based on the risk elements that is fueling the conflict in Bawku and the exigencies of the place. We also understand that curfews are short-term measures. And once the situation begins to stabilize a little bit because of the presence of the soldiers, I am very sure the Minister of Interior, within a week or two or three, will have to review the curfew so that it creates a little bit of leverage for the people who are found within the Bawku enclave.
And I thank you very much for joining us. Richard Commodore is a security analyst, and to talk about the curfew. You hear our correspondent, Kasu Senyala, who's moving with the military every step of the way, talk about 2 p.m. That's when the curfew kicks in. The residents there are supposed to be indoors. But this is Ghana Tonight. Stay with us because we have eyes and keeping tabs on what's happening in the Bawku enclave as we continue to urge peace and how things are playing out in there. And this is what the President, John Dramani Mahama, said earlier today, also appealing for peace while reinforcing the focus of this military deployment in the area.
I take this occasion to appeal to our brothers and sisters, Kusasis and Mamprusis, to give peace a chance. We cannot accept this current situation where students are shot in school and killed. We can't accept the current situation where teachers, public officers have all run away from Bawku because they are afraid for their lives. And we have given the mediation efforts to Otunfo, and he has briefed me constantly on the progress that he's been making. And we are almost there. And so the current fighting and killings can only be done by people who want to derail the mediation effort. And so let's give peace a chance. But as the army has announced, I have directed the army to move from peacekeeping to peace enforcement. That means they're going to be a bit more robust with anybody who is involved in criminality. And so let us give peace a chance, not only in Bawku, but in Nkwanta and all the other places where we currently are suffering conflict. Your Majesty, the values of unity, patriotism, and compassion are more urgent than ever. We must resist the forces of division and exclusion that undermine our shared heritage. Your Majesty, Gonja land is made up of different people of diverse languages and culture, but we are all united as one. Let us see each other as each other's keeper, and let us open opportunities in Savannah to everyone in Savannah, no matter your language or your culture.
I'm Muhammad. They're still live here on Ghana Tonight. We're live on 3FM 92.7, also on TV3 Ghana on Facebook. Coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, going to matters of politics. The New Patriotic Party's 2028 flag-bearer race kicks off today with nominations opening for aspirants, but the high cost of entry sparks yet this recurring conversation of the monetization of the entire political process. This is what we're going to get into in matters arising here on the Your Election Command Center. The New Patriotic Party earlier today announced the opening of nominations for members seeking to contest the party's presidential ticket, and this marks the official beginning of what is expected to be a keen contest. At a press conference earlier today, General Secretary Justin Kodia Frimpong announced that the candidates are required to pay a non-refundable nomination fee of 100,000 cedis, along with a filing fee of 500,000 cedis. That's a total of 600,000 cedis. Take a look.
We have officially opened nominations for our party members who aspire to become presidential candidates of our party for the 2028 elections. The presidential primaries shall be held on Saturday, January 31, 2026. Nomination is open today, July 29, 2025, and shall close on Thursday, August 28, 2025. An aspiring presidential candidate can procure the nomination forms after the payment of a non-refundable application fee of 100,000 Ghana cedis. So the application fees is 100,000 Ghana cedis, and it must be done through a banker's draft issued in favor of the New Patriotic Party, National Headquarters, Accra. Again, an aspiring presidential candidate shall pay a non-refundable filing fee of 500,000 Ghana cedis. And the payment must also be done through a banker's draft issued in favor of the New Patriotic Party, National Headquarters, Accra.
Well, that's Justin Kodia Frimpong there. But then again, this matter or this conversation keeps recurring every time, is that the MPP or the NDC start this process of announcing how much it's going to cost to contest as flag bearer for their respective parties. But then also, we've already heard some of the flag bearer hopefuls speaking that this amount that has been announced is too much. It could have actually been more. For the likes of Kwabena Japan, he says that he sat through meetings that there were proposals for even a higher amount to be paid than the 500,000 we're talking about, and then the 100,000 cedis for the nominations. Okay, we'll hear from him shortly. But let's track what has been the case in the New Patriotic Party in terms of presidential primaries cost, as in the nomination forms and then also the filing fee. So let's go back not too far away. Let's start from 2016. The party won that election. Ahead of the 2016 election, the presidential primary, all the persons who sought to be flag bearer for the MPP going into the 2016 elections had to cough up that 10,000 cedis for the nomination fee. The filing fee of 75,000 cedis was also charged ahead of the 2016 election. Ahead of the 2020 election, that figure increased. The nomination increased by 100% to 20,000, and then also the filing fee from 75,000 to 200,000. Now, fast forward to the 2024 elections. Ahead of that election, all the aspirants who sought to be flag bearer for the NPP had to pay the non-refundable nomination fee of 50,000 cedis and then the filing fee of 300,000 cedis. Fast forward to the flag bearer race ahead of the 2028 election, 100,000 cedis non-refundable nomination fee and the filing fee of 500,000 cedis. That's a total of 600,000 cedis. And Professor Smart Sapong is a political analyst joining us right now on Zoom. We'll be joined by Mustafa Gbande shortly. But Professor Sapong, appreciate you. Thank you for joining us. You share in that same sentiment by others who have heard this, indicating that this is on the high side, as against the NPP's explanation that they are also raising funds and resources to organize the Congress itself and then cover some other cost as well, Prof.
Well, a very good evening to your good self and to our cherished viewers. Partly, they want to use this as a means to raise funds. But then if it goes in this quantum, then the fundraising concept for political parties is being relaxed. The work that leadership would have to do, in my view, would be to properly organize the members or card-bearing members of the party and ensure from the polling station to the national level that they pay some amount of dues, however small. The NPP can boast of not less than 5 million members. And so if each member was paying even 1 cedi as monthly dues or whatever, you know how much they are able to accrue in a month. So it's a matter of organizing your base so that you can have a hand on how many your membership are and letting your members be responsible members of the association by paying dues, however small. That is the orthodox and classical means of raising funds for a political party or any association. If it gets to the level where to organize the next conference to elect your leaders, the leaders must fund it. I don't know whether it is partially or entirely. If they must be the ones funding it, then it has the potential of taking out some fine materials who may not have that much to pick a form and then in return add that amount of money to file their candidature. So that is one side of it. The fact that it tells us that the organization of the party members and urging the members to be responsible by paying some small amount of dues, that part is in arrears, and I think leadership would have to take a look at that end. It has the potential, like I said, of taking some fine brains out because they are unable to pay for that huge amount of money to pick a form and then to file. But there's another school of thought that if you want to come and lead a party like the NPP or the NDC, and let me say this in passing, that in the next several years ahead of us, I do not foresee any party apart from the NPP and the NDC ever being able to open nomination forms, not to talk of charging even 10 cedi or 20 cedi for interested members to come and pick a form and all those things. And it's because of how they have organized themselves. The NPP and the NDC have organized themselves such that if you ever graciously become a flag bearer, you have more than 40% to 50% chance of becoming the president. And so it comes with some level of value. And people seeking to compete
but should that value be put to monetary, measurement for that matter, so that if there's value, yes, so you must be financially sound to be able to also lead the party. Does that argument cut?
Not entirely. So you see, our concern now is about the quantum. If you check the percentage jump, you realize between 2016 to 2028, form has moved from 10,000 Ghana cedi to 100,000 Ghana cedi. Okay, so there will be some value to the picking of the form and a value to the filing. But we are all worried because of the quantum jump. It's just too much. But there must still be some value to you going into the process of becoming a leader of a party with the potential of winning to form a government. So that is also one bit of it. And the fact that you as the leader may have to demonstrate your ability to mobilize funds, to raise some funds, so that we do not expect you to cough out of your pocket 600,000, almost $1 million, to pick a form and file. You must also try and mobilize people, because throughout the period from now till the main contest in 2028, ability to raise funds is going to be very instrumental on the part of the leader who will be elected, as well as the party as a corporate body.
But then again, you see, there's always that argument, and we keep coming back to this same point, as to juxtapose the party's need for funds to run the affairs of the party, while in opposition especially, as against the concern that you raise about this 600,000, almost $1 million, 400,000 shy of $1 million, also being too expensive and possibly driving fine brains away from contesting the flag bearership of the party. How do you strike a balance between the two?
Well, so fine brains who do not have that huge amount of money would have to get something else, ability to raise funds. So yeah, so I think that's where the balance is. The balance is in the fact that you may be a fine brain without that ability to cough out that amount of money, but then you are not entirely taken out. You must rely on your ability to raise some funds to do that. And this comment is not to suggest that the amount is manageable. For me, and I've said it consistently ever since it was announced, that it is just too much. But then the one who is unable to raise it by himself must be able to mobilize some people to assist him organize 600,000, close to $1 million, to demonstrate your ability to lead in terms of fundraising when the duty calls.
I see. But, well, shortly, I have Mustafa Gbande, who is the Deputy General Secretary of the ruling NDC, joining us on Zoom as well. Ms. Gbande, good evening. Thank you for joining us. You've heard that argument from Professor Smart Sapong, that it's going to have to get to a point where, I mean, you don't have to, and if I say you, not necessarily with this specific instance, peg the filing and nominations at a point where it will deter fine brains from contesting the flag bearership of the two major political parties. The MPP is talking about a total of 600,000 cedis for the process, with a non-refundable fee of 100,000 cedis. That's the filing fee as well. Is it one that you agree with, that it's an avenue for raising funds, or that concern about it deterring fine brains away from contesting the flag bearership of the party as well?
Well, so thank you very much. I think this basically, even though it's entirely an NPP affair, but because it has to do with party administration, I also believe that, quite apart from the fact that both fine brain and persona as a resource that one must demonstrate its visibility in terms of wanting to be a president. There's another issue where political parties, both NDC and MPP, we believe that, look, often party, executives and running the party machinery. For example, the General Secretary and National Chairman will have to rely on people, beg to ensure that they run the party machinery, most often bring the party to power. It is appointees who are not party executives who comes around, misbehave, take the party to opposition, and it is the party executives again who bear the brands. And so a time has come where we must begin to look at self-sufficiency in terms of running the party administration, where party executives who have left their jobs to serve the party should be able to be remunerated. The party machinery should be able to run effectively, such that the party itself is independent of the aspirants. Because in the MPP, for instance, the current situation is that it's being looked as if, because one candidate is able to pay the bills, the entire party is skewed in favor of that candidate. So if the party then decides that we want to raise money internally from persons who have put themselves out to be president, And I think that there is no problem with it. I mean, it's in line with what the practices should be, because if you want to be a president, you must be willing to be able to demonstrate at least the capability of at least paying administrative expenses. If you look at some of them, their private campaigns and what they do, it's more than what the party is charging. And so what is the situation where always we run a political party as if it's just an instrument of winning election, then the individuals who are administrators of managing party machinery are left behind to rot just after, the party is able to run on an empty stomach to come to power. And so we must begin to look at these issues where the party should position itself, raise money, remunerate its officers, be able to run the party machinery independent of presidential, candidates.
I see. So you see nothing wrong with this total of 600,000 cedis that the NPP is asking of these persons who want to lead the party as flag bearer?
Well, I think, like I said, it's not an NDC affair, but I think that Governor Japon is unnecessarily complaining, and he's an ex-official member. He served the party as a general secretary. He knows the challenges of the party in terms of running the party financially and administratively. And so I'm shocked that he is the one who is complaining. If you can't put up yourself to become a presidential candidate, sit in the house. If you look at even him, the way he's branding his own party, his ambition and how he's branding his office, and you are complaining about a pantry, 500,000, and you want it to look as if the political parties do not have the right to charge such an amount for persons to contest for presidential election, I think is unnecessary complaint. But I truly support what the MPP as an administration is doing, except to say that it is also a window for the party to take back what these appointees have denied them. Because most of the appointees, most of the people who are running this race are the same people who cycle themselves, who run down the country, run down the political party as MPP to the ground, and left the party rejected and rusted.
Right.
And so if an opportunity is coming for the party to raise funds, I think that the National Executive Committee, have done nothing wrong. If it was NPP, we would do the same.
Right on. And I thank you so much for joining us on this. As you indicated, we're looking at the broader picture of party administration, especially with the two major political parties having a lot of things in common. But quick one, maybe in a minute before I let you go, we have Akwatia by-election ahead of us in just a little over a month away from now, September 2nd. How's the preparation like? Quick one before we go, in a minute.
We in the NDC have a belief that the demise of our brother, Ernest Yaokumi, is one that is painful, is unfortunate, and that for any reason, the two political parties will compete, but we should be able to film candidates that are best fitting, candidates that have the pedigree, the respectability of the people.
Right.
And so we believe also that we are not going to impose candidates on the constituency. And so we should go through primaries.
Right.
The number of people who have expressed interest should go through a contest. Fairly, the one that emerged as a winner becomes the candidate, and then we'll be able to move from there. And we also think that the MPP has unfortunately been threatening violence in the last few days, including Honorable Tim Fojo threatening that there will be violence at the place. The NDC, and let me give you the assurance, Alfred,
right,
that we will deploy every sophistry that is required for us to win the election minus violence.
Okay.
But let me also assure him that those who have perpetuated violence, committed crimes, involved in corruption in the previous administration, if they show up at Akwatia and we have been looking for them and we can't find them, they will be arrested in Akwatia,
right,
including the boys they have used for Ayawasu West Wagon, the boys they have used for Techiman, the boys they have used
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Violence.
Right on, and thank you very much for you. So you will be there on the ground as well to make sure that we bring our viewers every step of the way what is going to be happening. as well. Mustafa, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us. He is the Deputy General Secretary of the, as always, of the NDC. Also, Professor Smasapon, thank you for joining us. I'm going to go for this quick break. We'll be back shortly. Stay with us.
Reporting from the Takoradi Market Circle.
From the heart of the Upper West Regional Capital.
From the heart of the Ashanti Kingdom.
Reporting from Sunyani.
From the Central Business District of Navrongo.
The parliamentarians are on recess.
This is where it all unfolds. The moments that potentially alters the course of our nation and the world. These are the individuals we recognize, the voices we amplify, who appears on screen and who contributes behind the scenes. With professionalism at our core, we bring you news you can trust, impact journalism that makes a difference. This illustrates how diverse perspectives enhance our strength and reinforces our mission. This is 3 News, leaders in breaking news, exclusive interviews, facts and analysis on TV, radio, online and digital. 3 News, first in news.
Welcome back. Now, there appears to be what is happening now in Parliament, a clash over Ghana's improved economic ratings as to who has to take credit for this. And really, conversation is about how this is important in the bigger scheme of things, where earlier today, the minority addressed the press, indicating that the gains we are seeing in the economy has largely to do with the foundation policies implemented by the previous administration led by Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Take a look.
If you also remember, we have consistently stated that the government did not provide budget for the 24-hour economy. The minister has now conceded in the mid-year review that it will provide funding in the 2026 budget to implement the program. The question is, why do you launch a program when you have no budget to implement it? We know, but we on the minority side know why the minister has failed to fund these priority programs of the government. We know. Because the records show that out of the total 28 Treasury auctions held from January 3rd, 2025 to July 11, 2025, 13 auctions failed to meet the auction target. Therefore, the minister had to divert the funds meant for these priority programs to fund the auction shortfall, which would not have arisen if he had not manipulated interest rates on government treasuries.
This is not the first time that we are having our debt stock reduced. It cannot be true. Between November and December 2022, Ghana's debt stock, on account of the heavy appreciation of the cedi, that
So, Elliot, that was a press conference by the minority, but you hear Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, the former finance minister, talk about treasury bills and then also the issuance and not meeting a particular target. In fact, there was over a period, a number of times, government rejected bids because they were oversubscribed. That was the early days of this administration, and it was a strategy to drive down the interests. This administration took over in January 2025 with the 91-day treasury bill having a yield of 28%. That is the cost of how much government was borrowing domestically on the 91-day treasury bill. Fast forward to July, today, 2025, the yield on the 91-day treasury bill is 10.88%. There's a decline of 17.1%. That means that the government is borrowing at a lesser cost of 17% as against what was the case in January 2025. Fast forward to 182-day treasury bill. In January, the interest, so how much government was borrowing was 28.9%. Fast forward to today, it's declined by 15.7% to 13.22%. That's how much that decline we've seen in the 182-day treasury bill. 364-day treasury bill as well. We've seen in January, the yield as the government was borrowing at 30.2%. Fast forward to today, it's declined to 14.3%, a reduction of 15.9%. Now, Joe Jackson is a financial analyst, CEO of Dalex Finance. Ms. Jackson, appreciate you. Thank you for joining us right now. With this fight for credit and who should take credit for what's happening now, where does the pendulum swing for you? You understand the financial market.
Good evening, Nene. Listen, it's absolutely clear for me that we should give credit to the current regime. You and I have sat on this platform begging government, entreating government to reduce the T-bill rates on countless times. It fell on deaf ears. Even when once it came down, they pushed it all back up again. Haven't they done it? Isn't that credit to the Minister of Finance and the governor and the managers of this economy that they've kept the cost of financing local T-bills and local debt, they brought it down so low? The previous government had an opportunity to bring down bring down the cost of the dollar. At one time, we all remember the governor said he could even make it 10 cedis to $1 if he wanted to. Why didn't he want it? How can you then say take credit when somebody else has come and has done it? No, I mean, have external factors enhanced and accelerated the effect? Yes. But for me, it is clear we have to give credit. And bear in mind, let's give credit so that if things go wrong and we are blaming them, we can also blame them. But this issue of not giving them credit, it's politics. I don't want any part of these politics. I think the current managers of the economy are doing well. If you ask me, we were in crisis. This economy can be likened to a patient who had a stroke. We changed the drug regime. We changed the medical team looking after them. And now they've improved to the point where the patient is undertaking physiotherapy. Please, let's give credit to the new to the new drug regime and to the new medical team, without denigrating the old team. After all, an Akan proverb says that "Konfubona watsina yarefo ma konfu pa abotunu unyinimu." Not denigrating the old team. I very much appreciated what our previous minister, Dr. Aminu, Honorable Aminu, did to lay the foundation. But it was the foundation. The building was put up by the current regime.
I do appreciate your thoughts on this, and this is a conversation that is taking shape in many areas, and so we'll look at the sector by sector analysis as we go on here on Ghana Tonight. On behalf of the rest of the team, we do thank you so much for staying with us. Join us same time tomorrow for another conversation. My name is Alfred. Ocansey. Have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
Sasso insecticide spray